Yeah.
Give me a sec. Okay. Just want to start officially before we lose some of the juicy uh,
Yeah.
information that Jesper's given. Hey, everybody, this is Bradley Benner with Semantic Mastery. Today is January 22nd, 2024. We've got Jesper on. He's going to be talking about Schema Writer today. And so, Jesper, I didn't mean to interrupt you, man. Sorry, I just wanted to hit recording. Please continue.
Yeah, I want to say hi to everyone that joins this webinar or joined today. I want to say hi to David Victor. I want to say hi to Cecilia. Thank you. I just got home yesterday from Tenerife. I was there for a week with my wife, the island in Spain next to Africa, the Tenerife. So it was lovely to have a week of vacation. And today we're going to talk about schema, and we're going to talk about entities, and we're going to talk about both web page schema, video schema, product schema, all these local business schema and organization schema. We're also going to talk about how we automate schema, and we're going to talk about how we produce the entities and the ranking keywords for your target keyword, and how you can actually apply it to improve your rankings on your web pages. And the schema and the entities and the content that Schema Writer produces can be used both on WordPress websites. That's probably where most of you will actually, if you're going to follow this procedure, probably where most of you are actually going to apply this knowledge. But it can also be applied to ID pages that, Bradley Benner teaches is the method for the ID pages. And so the schema files that Schema Writer produces can actually be applied also to help to boost the topical authority and topical relevance for the ID pages. And semantic mastery, wow, week of vacation, what's that like? I don't know. First time in, I don't know, years. It was awesome. What can I say?
I was going to say, I'm jealous, man. I can't take off more than 2 or 3 days. I have to work. You know what I mean? Like, I just can't do it.
I know how it is. It was difficult for the first 2-3 days to relax, but yeah, I survived the vacation, but it was nice. Will Scott, howdy. Scott Walker, he's using Schema Writer. Sensational. Thanks, Jesper. Thank you, Scott. So,
well then, hey man, just take it away, Jesper. I'm gonna give it to you. I might comment occasionally when whatever you're gonna be sharing today, but yeah, the floor is yours, man. Wow,
right.
Our audience.
All right. So share screen. Let's see. Can you see my screen?
I can, yes.
And let's
How about everyone else?
The audience can see.
Looks like, hey, what's up, Kyle? What's up, buddy?
Hey, Kyle.
I think we're all good. Anybody else comment? Can you guys see the screen? You're good?
Just comment if you can or cannot see my screen, so I can continue.
Okay, we're good. Cecilia said, yep. I knew I could count on Cecilia.
So, all right. Okay. So the entire, okay, so the reason that we're talking about schema and the reason that we're talking about entities is because entities in your content is kind of like, it is a ranking factor. It's not kind of like a ranking factor. It is a ranking factor. From all of my testing, I see a very, very strong correlation between entities present in your content and your rankings. So you have the two major ranking factor groups. You have the on-page ranking factors, and then you have the off-page ranking factors. So all things being equal, it's of course much easier to achieve top 3 positions if you have a very, very high amount of links, if you have a high domain authority. That being said, it's much easier for you to achieve higher rankings if your content is quality. And quality in the eyes of Google means that you have the entities and the related keywords that's actually needed for Google to understand what the content is about. So today I'm going to walk through an example of a company called, let's see here, a company called Alabama Tree Pros. I don't know who Alabama Tree Pros, I don't know who they are. I just discovered them an hour ago because I needed a random company to walk through. and I'm going to walk you through the entire process of building this schema using schemawriter. So for those of you that have not seen, just minimize this again. For those of you that have not seen schemawriter before, it looks like this. The essence of the tool is that it's an automated web page schema, and it's an automated schema creator. And that's the essence of the tool. And you enter your company information first. And once this information is entered, then you can proceed to build out your schema files. And let me actually just start out by adding this company, Alabama Tree Pros. Let me just see the name, Alabama Tree Pros. So we integrated the Google Search API and the Google Places API, a lot, Google YouTube API, and a lot of APIs into this platform to be able to make what I'm showing you now. So I'm searching for Alabama Tree Pros. I think actually I don't remember if it's these guys. Let me just take this guy here. So this is just the Google also suggests that we implement it. You can actually also take the Google Place ID if you have that, but I find this just to be so much easier, and just click check. And what it did now was that it actually entered all of the information that's present in the Google Business Profile for this company. So you can see the Place ID down here. You can see the URL for the company here, the state, the zip code, the address, and all of this stuff here. And so what's funny is that when we're using the Google Places API to do this, it actually takes this as the logo. So it's a match G-static. So it's actually, I don't know why it takes this file as the company logo, but it grabs it from the Google Business Profile. So let me just pick save here. So now the company has been created. It didn't take long. And when it comes to the opening hours down here, you can see you can select between 24-hour open all days, or you can select individual opening hours. And the individual opening hours in all cases when you're creating company information, like I just showed you, they're taken from the Google Business Profile. So if you did not fill in opening hours, individual opening hours here, nothing will be filled in here. So let's just say they are from 1 to, so they have a long Monday, they have a long Tuesday also, and then they are closed the rest of the day because we don't want to spend time doing that. I click save. And let me just jump into the company again. So you can see over here to that, you can actually see the local business schema is being updated over here. Real time. So let me just put in the legal name. I don't know their legal name, so let's just call them Alabama Tree Pros. And that's actually basically it for the local business schema, because it's most of the fields actually filled out for us already when we're doing it like this. And for those of you that already tried schemawriter, you might be able to spot a new menu item up here called sitemap. And this is an experimental feature. Let me just copy the URL here. So this is an experimental feature where we will import the sitemap from the company. So we can actually create all of the pages automatically. So this will be the page sitemap. Good.
So what is that going to do? Web page schema for all the internal pages, or service, or what?
It's going to place interlinked service page schema on the home page. So now I imported all of the service pages here. So you can see they have, was it 17? Yeah, they have 17 pages here in their sitemap. So we automatically detect that this is the home page. And then all of these are set to service page automatically, but you have the option between article, service page, about us, and privacy. So this guy
That's
here,
strong. That is a strong feature, man. Very cool.
and yeah, it is experimental. We just launched this today, but once it's done, we will actually be able to, for the homepage, build out interlinked service page schema for all of the sub pages. So, for example, tree stump grinding, it's a service page. And we will include, of course, fields to determine what kind of service this is. It's tree-stump grinding, I can see that, but that will be included later. So yeah, it is strong because, I mean, right now when you're writing schema for service schema for the homepage, you need to do this manually, but we're going to automate this. So when you define 15 service pages, sub-service pages, they will automatically be filled into the web page schema for the homepage, the service page schema for the homepage. So at least that's in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, let me just save the sitemap here. So now it is saved. It's not being used for anything right now, I should say. It's a preview of the upcoming feature with the interlinked service page schema. But anyway, I'm done now. And let me actually just show you how this guy works. So I click on Schema Writer, I click Generate New. And since this website is based in Alabama, let's see how they rank in for the keyword Alabama tree service. And the target URL is their homepage. And the company name is Alabama Tree Pros, and the country is United States. And the language is set to English by auto. And you can then determine how aggressive you want to be in your schema production, low, medium, or high. And low, medium, or high is a measure of how many entities we're going to put into the about and mention schema. So the higher you go, the more entities we're going to put in the schema. But the lower you go, of course, the more precise it will be. So we give you the opportunity. You can actually also prune it afterwards. So let me just set it to high here. Let me click generate. So we're giving you the opportunity to prune it afterwards once the schema file has been generated. So what it's doing right now is searching Google for Alabama tree service, and we're using the Google Search API. So let me just show you here. Google Alabama tree service. So of course now I'm searching from a Danish IP address, so the results that I will see will not be identical to what you are seeing. I think that these guys here. Yeah. So that's actually, no, is it? Yeah, I think that's the page. Yeah. So that's the web. So they seem to be number 5 and number 6. So the purpose of running this report is actually to move them up in rankings. So we're using the Google Search API now to search for Alabama tree service, and I selected United States. So we're actually searching from the United States. And we are scraping the content from the top 10 search results. And then we're extracting the entities from the targets, and that's our guys from Alabama Tree Pros. And then we're extracting the entities from all of the top 10 competitors. And then you have the list of entities from your website, and you have the list of entities from all of your competitors. And then you can define the entity gap. So the entity gap is that's the list of entities that your ranking competitors have, but you don't have in your content. And the reason that this is important is because we know that the presence of entities in the content is a ranking factor in the eyes of Google. And so it's important to be able to identify the entity gap. And I just saw a video by you, Bradley, just an hour before we went on this show, and you talked about a method that you can actually use to be able to identify related entities. Let's say I want to rank for Alabama tree service, and then I can type like this, Alabama, like this, yeah. So Alabama tree service Wikipedia. So what will be returned to me now is a list of Google search results with entities that are related to the search term Alabama tree service. So when I click on this guy here, Alabama Forestry Commission, so this is an entity. So what is actually an entity? Well, an entity is a special type of keyword that's defined by its relation to other keywords.
Right.
So what can an entity be? An entity can be a name, it can be a place, or it can be a thing. So Alabama Forestry Commission is a thing. It's a real thing. It's a commission that's talking about forestry, and they are resided in Alabama. So in the eyes of Google, because they are trying to understand the language that we're talking as human beings, they need to be able to put this keyword into a database and then relate it to other keywords. So that's the database definition of entities, and I like that definition. And you can actually see when if you click up here on the right side here, tools, and you click what links here. So this is very interesting, because what you're seeing here is we are now showing 23 items, and all of these items that you're seeing here are entities that are related to Alabama Forestry Commission. So you could also, of course, you can do this manually. And now I'm just showing you some of the things that we're doing. We're not doing this inside of schemawriter, not yet anyway, but you can do this manually. And I find this very interesting because we're actually shown directly what entities are related to Alabama Forestry Commission. So that there's a thing called the Google Knowledge Graph API. And in the beginning, when we started to develop schemawriter, we actually tried to use the Google Knowledge Graph API to grab the related entities for a specific search term. But it actually turned out that Google only returned parts of the entity, the amount of entities that I know would be related to this search term. And of course, Google is not returning the correct results when you are asking the Google Knowledge Graph API, because that would actually be like telling you what you need to put in your content to rank.
Yeah.
So that's actually why you need to do what we are doing. You need to do reverse engineering. You need to look at the top 10 competitors, and you actually need to scrape all of the content. You need to perform some sort of analysis of the content, and then you need to extract all of the entities, because they are actually showing you what you need to do in order to rank.
Can I jump in for a minute?
Yeah.
I just want to expand on, guys, kind of, I do recommend this, and I have done training on this on our YouTube channel. But what Jesper was just showing with going to Google and searching for search queries related to the industry that you're researching, and then appending Wikipedia to the search term in Google, because what that does is that identifies, according to Google, it's sorted by relevance to the seed query, and it shows you the Wikipedia entities or entries that are relevant to that search query, that seed query. And so that's a great way to start to develop an understanding of how Google understands the topics associated with an industry. And I think that is absolutely critical for us in today's search environment, for us as SEO professionals, to start to understand the language associated with the industries that we are working in. And I found that in my opinion, there's tools like what Jesper's showing now that are awesome, but we should, as people, right, as professionals, we should have an understanding of the language associated with the industry that we're working in. And therefore, I think just doing that kind of manual process of going to Google and searching for search queries related to the industry and then appending Wikipedia, you can start to develop an understanding of how Google prioritizes the queries and the named entities within Wikipedia and how they relate to your industry. And I think that's a really good way to kind of start to remember, guys, if you want better results, be willing to do what others aren't. And so I know a lot of SEOs that are too lazy to do that kind of stuff. And I highly recommend that you just start to develop more of an understanding of the language associated with the industries you work in, because that helps us to be more efficient in our optimization methods.
Awesome. I agree. Yeah. So yeah, it's key to be able to understand. You need to be able to understand what is an entity, at least the basic concept of what is an entity. And you need to be able to, go to Wikipedia and click on the links that I just showed you, and use the method that Bradley teaches about how to identify related entities to your keywords. Yeah. So okay, so now we're inside of the report. It is done, and we can actually see that the search term was Alabama Tree Service, and my target URL was Alabama Tree Pros. And I will now scroll down because I will now show you the results. So what you're seeing here is all of the schema code that has been programmed for you. So all of this, all of these lines, and I actually copy this guy here and go to schema.org. Good. Click validate. Cross my fingers, I don't find any errors. I didn't. So you can see here that on the left side, we can actually see that we now got 247 lines of schema code. I can actually click on web page over here to expand, and I can see a description, I can see an add ID, I can see headline, URL, a lot of keywords, and I can see all of these abouts. And if I scroll down, sorry, I know it, I hate to look when people are scrolling, but I need to do it. I can see all of these mentions here. Let me just scroll down. Yeah. So all of this is automated for you. And let's just see here, for example, certified arborist, that's an entity that we identified. And the description, professional credential, I mean, it's a professional credential to be able to call yourself to be a certified arborist. It is the same as the information contained in this Wikipedia page. It is the same as the information contained in this Wikidata page. And it is the same as the information contained in this URL here. And let me just show you this guy here.
The knowledge graph ID.
Yeah, so this is the knowledge graph machine ID up here. I search for certified arborist, and this is a very special URL string up here in Google. So you can see it's search $Q is equal to certified plus arborist, and KGMID is equal to this string here. So so this is the unambiguous definition in the eyes of Google of what does it mean to be a certified arborist. So this is it, combined with the Wikipedia definition and the Wikidata definition. This is the total and unambiguous definition in the eyes of Google. What does it mean to be a certified arborist? And this page is about that. So this is the strongest possible signal they can actually send to Google that this is the topic of this page. It's the strongest signal possible, the strongest on-page signal possible at all. And when we go back, we can see here to the left, we can actually see the schema code. And to the right, I can expand the web page schema. As you can see, we made the web page schema, the local business schema, the FAQ, the product, and the organization. We did not identify any video schemas in this page. If we had identified a video, a YouTube video, embedded YouTube video, we would actually write the entire video schema for you also. And you can click on this guy here and add the video schema yourself. Let me actually just show you how that works. Alabama tree service. Let's say we have a YouTube video for Alabama tree service. This looks like a nice video. So I will just copy the ID up here. Copy. Good. Paste. Apply. And some of the video schema is created, not all of it. Of course, if the video does not have any description, we cannot put description. If the video does not have any tags, we cannot put tags. But if you find a YouTube video that has a name, has a description, and has tags, all of that will be put in here for you. So you can see the address, the logo, and yeah, and this is the YouTube video ID. Anyway, so let's jump back to the web page schema. So we actually integrated the OpenAI API into schemawriter, and I'm sure that many of you are thinking, well, what do we need OpenAI for? What do we need ChatGPT content for here? Well, we need ChatGPT and OpenAI content to save time because we need description. We need other fields also in the local business schema. I know we have some text fields here, and we also need we actually also we are also producing content here. So all of this FAQ content is auto-generated, and it's auto-generated using the OpenAI ChatGPT-4 or GPT-4 model, their latest model. We're using that. And we are producing ranking keywords, we are producing ranking entities, and we are producing, in the about and mentions. The keywords here, you might ask yourself, well, where do we get these keywords from? So we're using a statistical extraction method called YAKE. It's called yet another keyword extraction method. So it's a statistical extraction method of finding statistically relevant keywords in a large body of text. So what we're doing is we're extracting the content of the top 10 ranking pages, and then we are finding the statistical relevance, most relevant keywords, and then we're putting them into the keyword section of the web page schema. So normally what you would have to do normally is that you will have to actually do this on yourself, but we're doing some of it for you. When I'm building web page schema, what I would normally do is I would do like this, Alabama tree service price, Alabama tree stump grinding price. This is how I would normally do it. I would actually add all of these long tail keywords in the keyword section myself. So I have all of these keywords. I know that they are statistically significant as it relates to rankings. But all of these long tail keywords are also super, super good to have. And we implemented this upload CSV function because if you have what's it called, Bradley? The new platform where you can get all of these long tail keywords. I don't remember the name, but it's becoming quite popular. But there are many platforms to extract long tail keywords, and you can simply collect all of your long tail keywords, combine them in a CSV file, and just upload them here, or you can just do it manually. But
yeah, and if you're in a particular industry that you have a lot of clients in one industry, then you can develop a really, really thorough keyword list, guys, that then you have a CSV sheet that you can upload for every subsequent project in the same industry, and boom, you're done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if there are any of these keywords that you don't like, you simply click like this, just delete them. So yeah. So when it comes to the about and the mentions, this is where it becomes interesting. So you can see here rain gutter. I can expand this. What is rain gutter? It's a component of a water discharge system for a building, and it's the same as the information in this Wikipedia page, in this Wikidata page, and in this Google Knowledge Graph Machine ID URL. And severe weather, what's that? It's a dangerous meteorological phenomena. And what's a certified arborist, and so on and so forth. If there are any of these entities that I do not like, then I simply just delete them. For example, visa, delete, goal, delete, customer service. Yeah, I'm not sure about customer service. It comes up a lot when we're making these reports.
Yeah.
Sometimes, sorry?
Yeah, that comes up a lot because it's mentioned. I'm in the tree service industries, and I see that all the time as well. So it's just
I
because
mean,
people mention that they've
yeah,
got a 24-hour customer service line or something. So
what I would probably do is I would probably just move this to mentions, because customer service, it's, of course, the goal, the purpose of your company is to deliver good customer service, but that's not the topic of the page. So I'll just move it to mentions. Search engine optimization, I would delete. Price, move to mentions. Central Alabama, Montgomery, customer satisfaction, move to mentions. Insurance, I'm not sure. You're the tree service expert, Bradley. If we should
mention it, maybe, yeah. Like if they take care of like storm damage insurance claims and that kind of stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just the Christmas. I don't know why this is reputation.
And to be clear, guys, you see what he's doing, and that's why if anybody's listened to me talk at all in the last several years, I always recommend going into a particular industry because you can go really, really deep into optimizing, like super optimizing schema, but imagine doing that for 15 industries. That would kind of suck. I mean, again, I know a lot of you probably do have many, many different industry types that you work with, but I don't. I try to stick with one because then I can get very, very deep into it. And it's like, considerably better than 90% of or 95% of the others that are playing in that same industry space, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, so keywords like pest control, I don't know Alabama tree pros, but if they are doing pest control, of course, I'm not going to remove it. So I mean, it depends on what they're doing. House cat, probably move to mentions. So what
Or
I'm
delete it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll delete it. So what I'm normally aiming for is somewhere between 3 to 5 to sometimes 10 to 20 in the about section here. And with all of these, a lot of these like Selma and Millbrook and Birmingham, Birmingham, that's removed, that's in England. You just need to open to see what is this. Bessemer, I don't know what that is. Bessemer, is that a city? And just remove it. But you just need to see Vestavia Hills. What is Alabama? Okay, it seems fine. Millbrook, it's from Alabama. Okay, it seems fine. So, of course, all of these local entities, you don't want to remove these local entities because they strengthen the amount of entities. They strengthen the topic that, it's Alabama Tree Service. So you don't want to remove these guys. But once you are done, you move to the mentions and you do the same. Feedback, delete, drag and drop, delete, PayPal, delete. America Express, it's probably a lot of the payment methods that they fetch. I just personally delete these keywords like PayPal and because I mean it's not really pleasure. Delete. Yeah, so yeah, let's just say that this is this HTTP cookie. We also delete that. We don't want that. So what I am actually now done. So let me just click Save Schema. So now I'm done with that. So let me just say that I'm done with that. Now I actually optimized my abouts and my mentions. So let me just collapse these guys again. And let me just close this here again. And actually just close the web page schema. And let me just jump down to the FAQ schema because this is very interesting because we are identifying the top most relevant entities. And based on these entities, we type or we produce these keywords, these questions and these answers. And we're using the OpenAI API for that. So the reason that we're actually doing that is we want to strengthen the topical authority of the target URL. So you can see over here to the left side, when I scroll down to inspect the schema code, let me just see here. Question, how does pruning help trees withstand severe weather in Birmingham? It helps by removing excess, dead, or weak branches, which can become projectiles, and so on and so forth. When is the best time to schedule tree service in Birmingham? The best time is typically late winter to early spring. So of course you need to you need to inspect this. Is it actually correct? Or is it, if it's not correct, you need to modify it, of course. But this is schema code, right? And the special thing about frequently asked questions schema is that the exact same content that is in the FAQ schema needs to be verbatim on the page itself, inside of the content. Because this is a special type of schema because it's marking up the content as it is, exactly as it is on the page. So, and this brings me to tab number 2 called content. Because I scroll down here and I see all of these questions down here and answers. What types of tree services? How does tree pruning or pruning help trees withstand severe weather? What's the best time to schedule tree service? And so on and so forth. So all of these questions. So what I'm doing actually is I'm grabbing this like this, or click copy HTML, and then I'm pasting it in my content. And let me show you what that looks like. So I actually did this process for my own website, schemawriter, and I want to rank for automated web page schema. So I ran the report and produced the FAQ schema and all of the content, and I pasted it in down here. So what is an automated web page schema in the context of software? How does an automated web page schema relate to databases? What role does Wikipedia play in relation to automated web page schemas, and so on and so forth? And I did not modify it. I just inserted it as it was, or as it is. You can see that's the raw content that was produced by schemawriter. And over here to the right, you can see two columns here. You can see the entities and you can see the keywords. So the entities is the entities that we define to be the most relevant to the search term Alabama tree service. And if it's filled out, it's actually present somewhere in the content. And if it's not filled out, it's not present somewhere in the content. So for example, Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration is present, construction is present, health, expert safety, reputation, so on and so forth. But Elmore County, reliability engineering, arborists, hedge, hazards, lawn, shrub, rain gutter, and so on, all of these guys, they are not present in this content. And one of the two reasons that we also produce this is that it's an excellent way to put in entities. So you can see all of these red keywords here. These are entities. Severe weather, Birmingham, Alabama, tree inspection, health, pruning, all of these are entities. And if we didn't write this FAQ schema, none of these entities would have been, or most of these entities would not have been present in the content. So my process is I produce the schema, I prune the web page schema like I just showed you, I go over here to the contents, and I copy the HTML here, and I paste it in the bottom of the pages that I want to optimize. And then, of course, I also copy the schema code and put it into the web page. And this is a WordPress web page, so I'm using the schema plug or the plugin called Header Footer Code Manager. So it's super easy to just insert the schema like this. And so what you're seeing here over to the left, that's actually the content from the home page. And so that's the content that we actually scraped. And what you can do with this is we don't have a plugin right now for WordPress. So if I'm making changes over here to the left, arborist, for example, so now you can see I included arborist in my content. So if I'm making this change, it doesn't reflect on the web page because I'm not logged into the website, and I don't have a WordPress plugin to do this automatically. But this is actually an entity editor. So I scraped the content from the homepage of Alabama Tree Pros, and we put it in here, and I can see directly where are the entities, and I can also see what are the entities that I am missing. And I can actually download the entity gap here, and I can open it for you. And this is the entity gap. So these are all the entities that we have identified to be relevant, but that are not in the content. So what you can do with these entities, you can actually now ask ChatGPT to write pieces of content that include precisely these entities, because that's a very easy way to cover the entity gap. Part of the entity gap is covered by inserting the FAQ content like this. And the remaining part can be covered by downloading the entity gap like this, going to ChatGPT, asking it to write content. And yeah, and then you have content with all of the entities. So if I click on the entities here, I can see the on-page entities. These are all of the entities that we recognize in the target URL. And in this case, it's Alabama Tree Pros. Competitor entities are all of the entities that all of the top 10 competitors have, and that's of course a lot. And this is the entity gap. So these are the entities that you're missing in your content. And yeah, let's just
That's a really good feature, man. I didn't even know that existed. Is that new?
over here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
that's
entity gap data, because I don't, like I said, I haven't played with this app much, but I didn't see that before when I was in there. So that's really cool.
yeah, it's relatively new with the entity gap, and this entity editor, that's something that we're still working on to refine and to improve and to. We're still working on optimizing our model for what should we show here, because you can see we're showing a lot of entities, and we're showing a lot of, we're showing a lot of keywords and we're showing a lot of entities. But when you're looking at this guy here, you can clearly see that he has room for improvement. Even if we're not including PayPal, of course, we're not including American Express and MasterCard, of course. We're not going to include those kind of keywords or entities. But even without all of these entities, still he has a lot of improvements. I mean, fertilization, this transportation. I mean, so there's room for a lot of improvement. And I know that with Clement Vidic, he has a process where he's using schemawriter to actually produce the content. So he runs the reports, he downloads the entity gap, like this file here, and then he's using either schemawriter or Peter Hadley's GPT suit, the OpenAI suit that Peter Hadley developed. He's using that to produce content based on this entity gap. That's what he's doing. And so one of the latest features that we just included is that we actually upload images, and then we can actually encode images with the entire schema code.
Wow.
So you can upload an image here, and then we are going to put all of the schema into the code of the image itself. And I'm not talking about a Photoshop layer, and visible text and all of that stuff. It's going to be inside of the code itself. So if you are going to upload these images to WordPress, just be clear that WordPress strips all of the metadata when you upload. And for WordPress, you need, I don't know if you need a plugin to upload without WordPress stripping metadata, or you need FTP. I'm not sure about that, but yeah. But this image schema optimization tool here is meant for perhaps not cloud side, because you actually for cloud side, you can just copy the schema code itself, but Flickr, Pinterest, Google Sites, all of the sites where you cannot directly upload schema, you can optimize your images with the schema code here, and then upload them to these image sharing sites, for example.
Cool.
Scott is saying, Jesper's entity techniques are really helpful because my VAs don't fully understand the concepts. And Jesper removes the language issues related to English versus Filipino. Can you overdo schema? Rick is asking, can you overdo schema? And I'm sure that you can overdo schema. So the reason that I'm pruning schema, the reason that I'm removing unrelated about and mentions entities is kind of like you can actually overdo it. Because if I'm going to, the target keyword is Alabama tree service, right? If I'm going to be putting 75 entities about chocolates and candy and cars and aeroplanes and vacation and travel, all sorts of entities, because yay, I can just put entities, then I'm overdoing. Then I'm steering the content, the topical relevance away from Alabama tree service. So we need to be razor sharp about what our content is about. That's why you need to prune and you need to remove as many as the unrelated entities as possible.
So essentially just leave what is the most relevant to the project.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think
you'll see there's another question specifically by David. Victor, if you want to read that and answer that one.
Let me just take this guy here. So Evgeny is asking, what's the long tail keywords tool Jesper mentioned? It's called Yake. Yake, yet another keyword extraction. And it's not a tool, it's a programming method. It's a lightweight, unsupervised automatic keyword extraction method. Okay, I'm not talking more about that. So David is asking, Jesper, I have heard that if you include something in your mention schema, you'd better mention it in the human readable content, or it can be seen as schema stuffing. I'm hoping that's not true because it definitely adds yet another step. Let me know your thoughts. Well, I actually tend to agree with you, David, that the about section is what is the page about. So you don't necessarily need to mention all of the entities as they are named here in the content itself, because in the about section we're explaining, or we are telling Google this is what the page is about. But in the mention section, that's another issue. In the mention section, we're actually marking up what is actually mentioned in the content. So yes, I tend to agree with you that you need to really try to take care to include as many of these mentioned entities in the actual content as possible. Because if you're marking up 75 entities in the mentioned section and you don't have them in the content, it can actually be seen as schema stuffing. Not that I have seen any penalties or any negative effects, but yeah, I tend to agree with you.
And I have seen a schema penalty before in Search Console, but that was from using like review schema, product schema in an inappropriate fashion, and you'll catch a manual penalty that it's clearly labeled in Search Console. It's been 4 or 5 years since I've seen that, because
Yeah.
I stopped using product schema inappropriately. But I see that that's also included in your schema, and like I said, I've only deployed 3 of those so far, and I've removed that each time because it's been for like tree service contractors. But what are your thoughts on that?
I say that a service can be a product, right? So who's to say that a service page doesn't contain a product? So, but I know that Google, they don't like this. In the eyes of Google, product schema is meant for products to be sold in web shops, for example, physical products. Yeah. But in the eyes of me as a search engine optimizer, a service can also be a product, but it's debatable. So I just include it. But if you don't want to include it, just do like this. And then it's not included in the output. So it's super easy. If you don't like FAQ, if you already have local business schema in your website and you don't want to include this local business, just do like this and it's not included. But do like this and they're all included. So, but yeah, I know that I am aware that it can cause issues, this product schema, but I like to live dangerously.
Living on the edge.
Yeah, I like to live on the edge. Will is saying Alabama has a Birmingham too. That is correct. Yeah, header footer code manager. That's the exact name of the plugin that I use. When will you?
Yeah, I use the exact same one, Jesper. It's funny, and I use the pro version. It's fantastic. It's a great plugin.
It is a great plugin. So one thing that's annoying about WordPress and Elementor is that Elementor includes also some schema. It took me a while to figure out, well, where does the schema come from? So I had to ask my developer to try to to take that out of the Elementor plugin. So that's just a thing to keep in mind. So if you're using SEOpress Pro as I'm using, it also produces schema. And you can try to turn off all of the schema in SEOpress Pro. But if you have WordPress with Elementor, you will still get, I think it's web page schema and some other schema types. So yeah, that's just annoying. When will your app be ready for WordPress? No idea. I don't know. Cecilia is asking, perhaps the entities and keywords list in the content editor can have a refresh option to update after we have done our pruning, since it's based on the original drop run before we had the option to prune nugget drop. Yes, Cecilia, you're not the only one that's asked about this. So yeah, we will be implementing this. And Will Scott is saying, dang, I don't know to what. Cecilia is saying, test the schema images in GMBs. Yeah, that's actually a good idea. And David agrees. And Evgeny is asking question about other plugins creating schema. For example, I used Rank Math Pro, and yesterday I added schemawriter created schema. And I got 2 local business schema on the page. One created automatically by Rank Math and the one I created with Schema Writer. Okay, so first of all, it's very easy to disable local business schema in the output. Just do like this, click save, and you don't include local business schema. So I tested this specific scenario. If you have SEO plugins if you already have an SEO plugin and you insert Schema Writer schema, what happens to rankings? Well, if you disable your if you have site-wide schema, for example, from SEO Press Pro or Yoast or Rank Math or something like that, and you disable that and you only insert web page schema on one page using Schema Writer, I do not recommend that because I have seen rankings drop from that. So even that many are saying, well, the site-wide schema from Yoast doesn't do anything. From what I can see in my testing, if you have it and you disable it, you will risk your rankings will drop. So it does not matter, it does not hurt your rankings if you have duplicates of web page schema and duplicates of local business schema. I don't recommend it because it can cause ambiguation in the eyes of Google. What is this page about? But it doesn't hurt your rankings, not in my testings. And I've tested a lot for this specific scenario. But what I recommend is that if you have Rank Math Pro, disable local business schema here, because I know that this does it already. And yeah, and then you only get one local business schema. Does it make sense, Evgeny?
Yeah, and personally, guys, I don't like the schema that any of the plugins generate. So I disable that. And I've been doing manual schema on my sites for years because I don't like any of the plugin schemas, period, full stop. So I've always, and I use SEO Press Pro as well. It's funny, Jesper and I have not even talked about this and we use the same damn tools. But I use Schema Press Pro as well. And I disable the schema because I inject it manually. And before I was using an app that required a hell of a lot more input than this one. So this has been this is definitely more efficient for sure.
Yeah. And David say I got that too. If getting when I refreshed the page, the second local business schema disappeared. Haven't tried this AM. Yeah, okay. Scott Walker is saying, Scott, sorry, I did not hear the name of the plugin Jesper recommends and Bradley is using, and that's header footer code manager pro. And Evgeny saying, yes, thank you, Jesper and Bradley. And
so did you want to show an offer? Show what the offer is?
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah. So the pricing can be seen here. And we have the monthly and the yearly pricing. And I am past the initial Black Friday when I launched Schema Writer, but you can use the code called, was it semantic? Did you get the email, Bradley?
I did. I'm looking for it right now. I should have had it open, man. I'm sorry.
It's just because I don't want to write the wrong coupon code. Is this
it's semantic 15.
Yeah. So if
semantic
you
15.
use the coupon code semantic 15, you will get 15% discount for life or for how long that you have the subscription for Schema Writer. And it pertains both to the monthly and the yearly packages.
Yeah, coupon code semantic 15, guys. I put that in. You don't need an affiliate link or anything else. Just click in and on the coupon code field, add semantic 15 and you're golden.
Exactly. And Will is saying Rank Math has good page level schema, including import. Okay, so I'm not, I don't know Rank Math, so but I guess that Rank Math could be a good combination with the schema from Schema Writer, because what if you subscribe before the coupon? Write me an email, David, of course, and I'll help you. What does 50 runs per month mean? What is that limitation? Okay, so in the basic package, you have 50 runs per month. And what does this mean? It means that you can just see, you can click on this button 50 times in 1 month. So we're using, I think we're using, now we're up to 9 APIs. So we're using Google Search API, Google NLP, Google Places, Google YouTube, the YouTube API, and of course Wikipedia, Wikidata, and other APIs. And some of these APIs cost money, especially the Google APIs. So that's the reason for this this limit here, 50 runs per month. So it means that you can simply just click this generate guy 50 times in that package. And in the expert, you can make 100 runs per month, and in the agency, you can make 150 runs per month. Currently, we do not have any limit of how many companies you can create. So currently, there's no limits. Of course, unless people abuse it, I'll be forced to add, limitations to how many companies. But there's no limitation right now. So it will be very easy for you to add a new company. Click Fetch from Google, Alabama, Alabama State University. Let's make schema for Alabama State University, and that's one dude. And I can just click copy, and now I've created a local business schema for these guys. On to the next one, click Add New, Fetch from Google, Alabama, Tree Crossing Park, check, save. So that's how fast it is just to add companies and companies and companies and create this local business schema. So I hope it makes sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to be a lot of questions today, Bradley.
No, there doesn't. And that's fine. I'm going to post the link in chat again, guys, and the coupon code. So it's just schemawriter.ai, coupon code semantic15.
I just have a couple of things that I've got to mention, Bradley.
Sure.
So we're working on a geo radius update to the local business schema. So the geo radius update will actually grab the latitude and the longitude and all the place ID from your Google Business profile. And what it will do is we're using the Google Places API to identify points of interest and cities around the target URL, and then we're adding them to the schema. And
are you going to add them as area served, or is it just?
Yeah, we're going to add them as area served, and we're working on that update right now. And I hope/expect this to be ready sometime next week.
Fantastic.
But we are working on that right now, Cecilia. And what we are also working on is we're working on automated service page and article schema, because personally I use article schema the most for my websites, but I know that most of you guys use service page schema, and we are working on automating that. You can actually already, if I click on this guy here, you can actually already click on plus, and you can add service schema and click on apply. And then you can just fill the fields in here with offers and all of that stuff. But I prefer to automate it. And that's coming also in a week or two, something like that. So yeah, I just want to mention that.
Very good, man. Outstanding app, Jasper. And it's crazy because just in the couple of weeks that I've used it for, and like I said, I've only deployed on 3 projects. I've seen some interesting movement. And then most of those features that you just displayed today I didn't even notice any of those. So I've got a lot of testing to do, and I certainly will. And I'm glad that I got in on the deal for the Black Friday offer. So guys, this is the next best thing. I would encourage you guys to go ahead and get subscribed now while that coupon is still valid. It's a great app. You can see it can develop very thorough schema in a fraction of the time that it's taken using other apps that I've used. So it's I think it's great. I really do.
Yeah. So Steven is asking, Miss Beginning, will the replay be available? I suspect it will.
Yes, of course it will be. And yeah, the replay will go out, guys, in the next 2 or 3 days. It'll be out for sure. Mark says, Bradley, does adding this code slow down the web page much? Just curious. No, it's just text code. If you add it to the HTML header of the page, it's just text, so it doesn't slow anything down. I think this one's coming for you, Jesper. Did you fix the software to where it mostly closely represents the city?
Yeah. To some extent, Dan, we fixed that. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. We're not entirely done with that. So, for example, Alabama, there's a city called Birmingham, but there's also a city called Birmingham in in United Kingdom, in UK, in England. So sometimes we can grab, you know, entities that are not, it's not that entity, it's actually the wrong city.
Yeah.
But we're working on fix that. We have fixed some of this, but we're still improving on that part.
Yeah, and in the meantime, it just means you have to go manually review, and that's, in my opinion, you should be doing that anyway. You know, just to double. I mean, I'm in the camp that state, you know, I want the schema to be fully relevant and specific to this products and services that page is promoting, if that makes sense, instead of you know, bringing in a lot of stuff that I think is, it might be have some sort of a connection or some sort of a semantic relevance, but if it's not part of what the company products or services that they actually provide, then I tend to not leave them. So I go through and kind of granularly modify or edit the schema that's output from this but you know, hopefully it'll get better through the automation as well. I'm sure that's what Jesper's talking about, but I would still encourage you guys to go through and manually check things.
Yeah, I'm going to add an AI filter to or large language model filter to filter out unrelated entities. But the problem with that is actually also that no AI filter will ever be perfect. So
Right.
I just think it's just the best to just manually just do it.
That's
But
right.
that's me. And the customer is always right. That's actually a good entity. Customer is always right. But yeah, but I like to do it manually. There's a question to you, Bradley.
Yeah, from Will.
Yeah.
Will says, Bradley, if we wanted to use this tool for generating schema for an ID page on Yax, how would you recommend integrating web page schema created with this tool with the web page schema generated by Yax? I would use one or the other, not both. And also, to be clear, generally with what I do for ID pages, guys, is I embed the location landing page that the ID page is linking to. So the primary website essentially. And if I have the schema embedded, or you know, the schema code added to that money site page, and I'm going to have that embedded into the ID page, then it's going to pull the schema in from the money site that's embedded or iframed. Does that make sense? So generally for ID pages, guys, I do not add additional schema because I'm allowing to pull in the schema from the money site page that's embedded into the ID page. If that makes sense.
So Dan is asking, will you add the ability for us to add competitor size? I do not know what that means. Could you elaborate with that question, Dan? What do you mean?
Yeah, I'm not sure what he meant either, because I know it scrapes the competitor sites
Yeah.
when it's generating the schema originally. So I'm not sure, Dan, if you can provide some clarity to your question.
Yeah, that would be.
And if not, that's fine, guys. Like I said, if there's any other questions, guys, we'll wrap them, send them out, because I want to see, I'm going to be heading out here in a few minutes. I've got some traveling I got to do tonight, but Jesper's been great. This tool is quite amazing and it's inexpensive for what it does. So.
Okay, so Dennis is saying we add competitor size we want the app to use instead of the app pulling the competitors itself. I will simply I did not think of that actually, so I will take a screenshot and we will add that. Yeah.
So you mean manually tell it which competitor pages to scrape?
Yeah. Here, so when we're clicking generate new, instead of there's no field for selecting competitors. So yeah, so that's what he's talking about. Yeah, we will add that.
He's going to pay you a bonus, apparently. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, thank you, Jesper. I really appreciate you coming on and showing this, man. You know, I learned a bit from just seeing your presentation, and some of the new features are really interesting. I'm anxious to get to use it some more, but certainly appreciate you coming on and sharing this with everybody. You know, I'm a big supporter of your tools, Jesper. So this is yet another one of them.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So guys, we'll get the replay out in the next couple of days. If you have any follow-up questions, you can reach out to Jesper. Certainly you can ask us questions at Hump Day Hangouts. I'll try to answer them, but if I don't know, I'm just going to point you to Jesper anyway. So appreciate everybody. Thanks, Jesper. And we'll follow up with you afterwards.
All right. Take care, guys.